With faltering steps, the man walked out of the tavern and headed toward the road. It was late at night. The yellow lights of the street lampposts had grown dim. The darkness of the night was swallowing everything. Managing to raise his right hand, the man shouted aggressively at the last few taxis of the night.
Hey you, take me home. I'll give you $500.
At 12:30 a.m., no taxi showed any interest in picking up this drunk passenger. Ripping through the chest of the empty road, the yellow taxis kept speeding past. With unsteady hands, the man pulled a cigarette out of his breast pocket, placed it at the corner of his lips, released a mouthful of smoke, and looked around. Through blurry eyes, he spotted a hand-pulled taxi a little distance away. The taxi puller seemed to have fallen asleep, wrapped in a shawl. A chill was slowly settling over the city. Holding the cigarette in his left hand, the man walked up and stood in front of the taxi.
Hey, wake up. Come on, take me home.
The taxi puller, newly awakened from his sleep, stared blankly at the man. The man held out a $500 note.
Take this. It's your entire month's expenses. Now come on, take me home.
The poor, simple taxi puller didn't argue further. The man climbed into the taxi. His hand, holding the cigarette, remained hanging outside the taxi. A shadow figure emerged from behind the tavern. With both hands thrust into jacket pockets, the shadow figure quietly began following the taxi. Keeping a close distance, the shadow figure trailed the man silently. After traveling a short distance, the man took a final, satisfying puff of his cigarette and discarded it on the road. Now, the shadow figure dashed forward. Hurriedly putting on white gloves, the figure picked up the cigarette filter, slid it into an airtight packet, and stuffed it into a pocket. Looking around cautiously, the shadow figure began walking in the opposite direction.
Hello, madam. The job is done. No, I am coming straight to the lab.
Hello everyone. Our new story, Dents of Deception, begins. As soon as Zinni returned from the office, she rushed upstairs. Hearing the sound of her heavy boots, Zinni's mother, Alida, called out.
Hey Molly, put the tea on. One has returned. God knows when the other will be back.
Taking off her shoes, Zinni headed straight to raid her paternal uncle's study. Zinni's uncle, Arthur Art Rudrick, was nearly 55 years old. Looking at his physique, one could tell he was quite strong and robust in his youth. He was nearly 6 feet tall, with salt and pepper hair brushed back, wearing black-framed glasses. Zinni's uncle had run away from home at a young age. He took up whatever work he could find. Whenever he saved up some money, he would leave the city driven by the addiction to explore new places. Those experiences were diverse. He used to write about those adventures in letters to a writer friend. And that writer friend, turning those experiences into stories, became quite popular. Later, as he aged, he suddenly felt the pull of home one day. When he returned to his only younger brother, his parents had passed away. His brother, Chief Scott, had 5-year-old twin daughters, Zinni and Indrani. Looking at the faces of his nieces, he stayed back with his brother. Many years had passed. However, even now, he would suddenly set off on trips, and every time he would take either Indrani or Zinni along. The younger brother, Chief Scott, was a police DIG. Zinni had been appointed as an inspector in the crime branch this year. The younger niece, Indrani, however, inherited her uncle's temperament, wandering here and there and observing everything meticulously. Entering the study, Zinni saw uncle reading a biology book. Hearing her footsteps, without looking up, he asked,
So, what case is it today? Snatching or unnecessary worrying?
Murder or accident?
Pointing towards the chocolate in Zinni's hand, Uncle Money said,
Do not flatter me, oh Miss Marple.
Zinni, coming over, placed a file on the table, hugged her uncle, and said,
Please, please don't do this. I'm getting heavily grilled at the office. Dad called the office today and told me to solve the case quickly, otherwise give it up. He won't look out for me for much longer. It's a high-profile case. Can you believe my own father isn't supporting his daughter? If you also back out, where will I go?
Zinni knew her uncle had no vices except for this one, dark chocolate. Due to his age, Zinni's mother had recently almost banned bringing chocolates. Even so, the two nieces would occasionally sneak in a supply of this single object of addiction for their uncle. Even knowing this, Alira would sometimes remain quiet. What else did the man have? He had no other responsibilities or vices. So, seeing her daughter's antics, she would sometimes smile to herself. Taking the chocolate from Zinni's hand, Uncle Moni put a piece into his mouth and said,
Sit down and tell me now. Let's hear it.
The incident started about 3 months ago. Towards the end of June, the daughter of a renowned gold merchant of the city and her friend went to a private party at a resort near Blackwood River. On their way back, they went missing. Even after searching frantically for the next 2 to 2.5 months, neither the car nor their bodies could be found. About 15 days ago, the car was suddenly spotted on the riverbed of the Blackwood River. The red Honda Amaze car had been submerged in the waters of the Blackwood River for 2.5 months during the peak monsoon. It has been spotted now because the water level has receded. Needless to say, 2 female bodies were found inside, but they were no longer in a recognizable state. Submerged underwater, the flesh of the bodies had decomposed and swollen up terribly. However, finding the driving license in the car, the local police station identified them and sent word to the crime branch. Without delay, we went there, took necessary photographs, and brought the bodies back to Central Bureau. Given the condition of the bodies, there was no hope of recovering anything. The flesh was hanging loosely from the bones. We brought them back wrapped tightly in cloth. Multiple semen samples were found in the vagina, but it wasn't possible to definitively call it rape. All the muscle tissue of the body was decomposed and melted, meaning...
Semen samples could be collected after being underwater for that long?
No, I mean, not exactly semen. 2 male DNA traces were found inside the uterus through a YSTR test. And you know very well that even the smallest sample of DNA can remain intact even after several years. If the body had completely melted, decomposed, and washed away in the water, perhaps it wouldn't have been found.
You guys were on the right track. So where did the problem arise?
Standing up from her chair, Zinni began pacing around as she spoke.
The girl's father has immense wealth. She led a wild lifestyle. That night at the private party, there was no limit to their drinking. There, she became physically intimate with someone, and he has confessed to it as well. From there, in the middle of the night, the girl and her friend drove off in an intoxicated state. Later in the investigation, we found out that these 2 girls had gone to such private parties many times before. Though the girl's father didn't know, her mother knew, but forbidding her yielded no results. In such a scenario, the case was initially closed as an accident, but the girl's father claims it wasn't an accident. He asserts that even when his daughter was drunk, once she held the steering wheel, she could outperform even a seasoned driver. I know such reasoning holds no logical weight. Still, unfortunately, that case has landed in my lap.
What all did you guys gather?
We have identified a diner on the Purulia-Barakar road where the 2 girls had stopped. Even after 2 months, the diner owner remembered them. That night at the diner, there was shouting, screaming, and intoxicated rowdiness. You know, the usual stuff.
What exactly was the shouting and screaming about? And where precisely was the car found?
A few boys had passed some comments at them. That led to a verbal spat first and then a physical altercation. The diner owner threw both parties out. The girl even smashed a glass on a waiter's head. It was a bloody mess. And the car was found exactly where the Blackwood River and Barakar rivers meet. Right there. Look, Purulia-Barakar road means they would definitely have to cross the Delaware Confluence Bridge to come towards Central Bureau. My hunch says they didn't cross the bridge. If they had crossed it, that car wouldn't have been found in the waters of the Blackwood River. However, my gut says it wasn't an accident. Otherwise, whatever happened would have happened on top of the bridge. Unless the girls had a specific reason to go down. A few things need to be looked into more thoroughly. Any video footage?
Arthur immediately opens the map of Blackwood River on his laptop.
Look, Purua Side Road means they would definitely have to cross the Delaware Confluence Bridge to come towards Central Bureau. My hunch says they didn't cross the bridge. If they had crossed it, that car wouldn't have been found in the waters of the Blackwood River. However, my gut says it wasn't an accident. Otherwise, whatever happened would have happened on top of the bridge, unless the girls had a specific reason to go down. A few things need to be looked into more thoroughly. Any video footage?
Leaning over the laptop, Zinni says,
Yes. In the footage from the diner and an ATM a little further away, the red amaze was clearly visible. Along with it, in both pieces of footage, the black Scorpio belonging to the boys they fought with was also visible. We picked them up on suspicion and interrogated them. It was of no use. None of their DNA matched. Their statement is that they did chase them, but after going some distance, they didn't want to escalate the trouble further. So, they stopped their car, drank beer, and stayed on the road all night. At dawn, they all returned to Medinipur. We verified their statements. There is proof for everything. The shop where they had tea in the morning, where they had breakfast, everything is authentic.
Picking up the file from the table, Arthur Rudrick held it out to Zinni and said,
Show me the photographs.
Zinni arranged several photos of the car in front of him, along with the photos of the two victims' bodies. There was barely anything left to see of the victims anyway. Nothing remained except swollen, white, decomposed masses of flesh. If they didn't have a human form, it would have been hard to even identify them as human beings. Arthur Rudrick began examining two photos of the car intently. One was a picture of the rear boot. The other was of the front bonnet. Then he hurriedly checked the post-mortem report. Glancing through the rest of the file, he said,
All right, listen. Find out a few things. First, there's a large dent on the car's bonnet and a medium-sized dent on the boot. Were either of these already present before? Second, ask the primary investigating officer how exactly the bodies were positioned when found in the car, meaning were they wearing seatbelts? How far were their feet from the accelerator and brake? Things like that. The more detailed information he can give, the more helpful it will be.
Zinni pulls a CD out of her bag and inserts it into Uncle Moni's laptop.
All the CCTV footage is in this. We find out if the car had any dents beforehand.
The two of them watch all the footage with endless patience. In the meantime, Molly brought a cup of tea and a cup of coffee, though neither the niece nor the uncle paid any attention to it. Aliva even came back, took away the cold tea and coffee, and left. Seeing the chocolate on the table, she understood the problem was serious. But at this age, it's better not to eat too many sweets.
Art, I am keeping the chocolate in the fridge now. Don't eat any more of it now.
Without looking anywhere, Arthur Rudrick just muttered an in agreement. After minutely examining all the footage for nearly an hour, Zinni said,
Look, it's clearly visible up to the ATM that there is no dent on the car, either at the front or the back. I think the dent happened when it plunged into the water and hit some hard rock at the bottom of the Blackwood River. But what is there to think so much about this?
Can a car move in two directions at the same time?
What does it mean?
That means a car will either move forward or backward in reverse gear. If it crashes head first, the bonnet will be crumpled, but there won't be any impact mark on the boot. And if it falls backward, the boot will be crumpled, not the bonnet, right? Surely something happened in between that we are missing. To know that, find the answers to the remaining questions quickly.
So, do you mean to say it's murder?
It certainly seems so. There's another anomaly. The post-mortem says there's a hairline fracture at the back of the skull. Now the question is, if the car plunged forward, a fracture on the front of the head would still be understandable. I would even be surprised by a fracture on the right side of the head. She could have hit the door. But at the back of the head, even with the seat's headrest in place, can an impact be so violent that the skull itself would fracture? This needs to be looked into more closely. Leave the CD here. Remember to take it in the morning when you leave for the office. Let's see if anything else can be found. And yes, from what it looks like, if this is a murder, then something happened between that ATM and before getting onto the bridge. Search the bushes and woods around the river. See if anything at all can be found. Ask the local people too. It's not a completely deserted area. Someone might have seen something.
Only now did the two of them notice that at some point, Chief Scott had returned and was quietly sitting on the sofa, drinking tea. Seeing him, Zinni smiled a bit sheepishly, and Chief Scott smiled back faintly. The next morning, before leaving for the office, Zinni comes to meet her uncle to collect the CD. Arthur hands over a piece of paper.
These 3 cars also crossed roughly around the same time, either slightly before or after those 2 girls. These 3 cars are visible at both the diner and the ATM. I don't know if they are involved at all, but keep them in check just in case.
Zinni was already running late, so without delaying further, she took the paper and left. Around afternoon, Zinni calls Alira to inform her that she is going to Blackwood River for a few days. Alira used to worry about these things before. However, she has seen her husband for so long, and her daughter has given her many such heart attacks over the past 3 years. So she just told her to take care of her food and health. She knows that right now, if anyone has the most information about her daughter, it is her brother-in-law. Zinni returns home after 3 days. In these 3 days, a lot of information was gathered, but the war of nerves was not yet over. When Zinni returns, Arthur was staring intently at something on his laptop. The fatigue of the 3 days had completely drained Zinni. Therefore, after sleeping for a bit, she came to Uncle's room in the evening.
So, how is it going?
Forget everything, Uncle Money. My bad phase isn't ending. I've come so close, but I can't close the net. What do I do?
Before Arthur could say anything, Chief Scott entered the room and said to Zinni,
"So, what is your progress? The media is muddying the waters. You didn't even submit the report today."
Flustered, Zinni looks back and forth between her father and her uncle.
Tell him whatever you've told me. He has to answer to the higher-ups too.
Sitting on the sofa, Zinni begins.
Let me first talk about the 3 cars whose numbers Uncle gave. One was a family car returning from a relative's house in Purulia. Another was coming from Malda. It belonged to a small-scale medicine distributor, Patrick, returning to Central Bureau with goods. This man reached Central Bureau very early in the morning. So, chronologically speaking, if he had stopped to do something on the road, he couldn't have reached Central Bureau that early. He had withdrawn money from an ATM at one point along the road. There's footage of that too. The 3rd car belongs to the brother-in-law of an influential politician. Though he is not willing to reveal much, Samuel was returning late at night from some personal work. He wasn't even ready to disclose what time he returned home. He made it clear that he cannot be interrogated without a proper reason.
Chief Scott took a sip from his teacup and said,
"I feel this is a simple accident. You guys are forcing it to be a murder. I want the report on your senior's desk tomorrow morning. No more wasting time. Understood?"
Why do you speak without hearing the whole story? There was a dilemma before, but now it's clear. It is murder. Listen then. For 3 days, a team of 20 of us thoroughly searched from Delaware Confluence Bridge to the confluence of the Blackwood River and Baraka Rivers. We questioned the locals. Finally, we saw that a little distance away from the St. Jude's Wayside Shrine, a new shrine in a thatched hut has cropped up with quite a buzz. We noticed the line was longest there. Upon inquiring, we learned that about 3 months ago, on the morning of a new moon, someone going to the riverbank noticed blood stains on a medium-sized stone. Then, as rumors go, it spread. People said Mother Mary had emerged from the shrine at night and sat on that stone, and that the bloodstains belonged to her. Within a few hours, a thatched shed was built, along with a brick altar. Fortunately, oil and vermilion hadn't been smeared over the stone yet. Otherwise, I would have been crucified by now. Anyway, the blood sample obtained from it matched the friend of the merchant's daughter.
Chief Scott stares blankly in shock for a moment. Arthur speaks up.
So the reason behind the injury at the back of the head is found.
And yes, I also spoke to the local police officers who found the car. One of them stated that the distance from the big toe of the body sitting in the driver's seat to the brake and accelerator was about 30 centimeters. Later, when the Central Bureau Crime Department took over the operation, the local station didn't bother about these details.
About 30 centimeters. No, a car cannot be driven like that. Surely someone tall drove it here and later placed one of the girls in the seat.
It could also be that after the car plunged into the water, the girl tried to get out, and so perhaps she pushed the seat backward.
It's entirely possible. But just for once, imagine you have plunged into water inside a car. On average, you have about 1 minute. What exactly will you do?
What else would I do? First, I'll unfasten the seatbelt. I'll push the seat back, then the car door.
Exactly. You will open the seatbelt first. Anyone would do that. But the bodies of the two girls were tied to the seatbelts. That means they were either already dead or unconscious. So there is no reason to push the seat back. By the way, how heavy was that stone?
3 kilograms and 700 grams.
That means it can be deduced that the stone was lifted and hurled with both hands. There remains a strong possibility of the skin on the hands getting slightly scraped. Was any DNA sample found?
No, how can it be found now? It has been ruined by old dust and debris over time.
Does Central Bureau have an MVAC?
Arthur leaned back against the cushion and looked at his brother. Zinni kept looking at both of their faces for a while.
I am not quite sure. We'll have to check with forensics.
What is that?
Arthur leaned back in his chair comfortably and said,
Times are changing, Zinni, and so is the nature of crime. Solving cases relying solely on brain power looks good only in stories. In reality, accurate data collection is required, followed by identifying the criminal. For that, remarkable scientific inventions have arrived, but we aren't keeping ourselves informed. This MVAC is the latest invention in DNA sample collection. Through this, it is possible to collect DNA.
Zinni leaves the room while calling someone on her mobile phone. 2 days later, in the afternoon, Zinni calls from the office.
Thank you, Uncle. There were some microscopic pieces of skin inside the crevices of the stone. We managed to collect them using the MVAC. I also received the DNA print today. It matches perfectly with the unidentified DNA found in the vagina. In a way, our investigative team is certain that this person is the killer. But the main problem now is that it hasn't matched anyone whose DNA we had collected. Only the medicine distributor, Patrick, and the politician's brother-in-law, Samuel, are left. Among them, Patrick is ready to cooperate in every way. But Samuel, you understand, unless we get some kind of link, we can't pin him down.
If the straight finger doesn't pull out the gi, you have to bend the finger. Gather the DNA sample first. If it matches, why just pin him down? Tie a rope straight around his waist.
Zinni remains silent for a while and then calls forensics Dr. Gibson.
Can you generate a person's DNA print from anything?
Madam, blood would be excellent. Otherwise, hair root, urine, or saliva will also do. But the last two will take a bit of time.
Zinni says, and hangs up. She summons Carter from their team.
I want this man Samuel's DNA sample. At any cost. His blood, urine, or saliva, anything will do. But no one should know about this right now.
Carter says, Okay, madam, and steps out of the room. Going outside, he makes a few phone calls in a row.
Hey, I have sent the picture. Take a look. Name is Samuel. Follow him all day. I want all details of when and where he goes as quickly as possible. And I am looking into Patrick.
Patrick's height was about 6 feet 1 inches, with a sharp nose, a mole on his neck, clean-shaven, looking quite polite and gentle. Zinni hurls the first question at Patrick.
We have to trouble you once again. I hope you don't mind.
Oh, what are you saying? Why would I mind? I want to help the police completely. The other day you called me to the station. Today, since you have come to my house itself, let me make a cup of tea. Please sit.
No, what is the need for all this? I mean, I am a bit busy, so there isn't much time.
It's all right. I won't waste your time. You carry on asking questions. I'll answer while making tea. That way, your time won't be wasted.
Patrick gives a short smile and walks toward the kitchen. The kitchen is not directly visible from the living room. To ask questions, Zinni will have to raise her voice a bit. Therefore, Zinni stood up and went near the kitchen entrance. Seeing Patrick, he bit his tongue and said,
Oh dear, why did you stand up?
It's all right. You rather answer the questions. Around what time did you enter your house that morning?
Why? I told you that day itself that on my way back, I went to the ATM at 4:30 a.m. You must have already checked that. From there, my house is a half-hour drive. The road is empty in the early morning. So I entered the house around, say, 10 minutes to 6.
The water has boiled. Adding the tea leaves to the water, Patrick keeps stirring. Slowly, the color of the water turns dark brown. At the same time, the whole room fills with the sweet aroma of tea. Straining the tea leaves, Patrick pours the liquor into the cup. Then, he gently pours the micro with a light hand.
That means you guys have most likely found some DNA sample, right?
That's none of your business.
How many spoons of sugar?
2. So then, you have no objection?
Patrick smiles subtly and hands over the teacup.
No problem, madam. How many bottles do you need?
Zinni gets a bit annoyed. Is this man a bit too casual?
No, I am not opening a blood donation camp. It just needs to be equal to an injection syringe.
That means I have to visit Central Bureau once again, right?
Yes, I mean, you understand the situation.
All right, always at your service. Anything else?
Yes, I want to see your car.
Patrick takes the key from the room and comes outside the house. Opening the garage at the back of the house, he unlocks the minivan and stands beside Zinni. Take a look. Zinni steps forward. There are some empty boxes of medicine at the back of the car, and there are several files on the side seat. Flipping through them, she understood they were accounting files. Then, as she comes to check the front, she is startled. Underneath the front seat, a dark brown stain lay dried up. Zinni turns back swiftly.
What is this? Why is there blood here? Whose blood is this?
Patrick suddenly seems caught off guard.
Oh yes, I forgot about that completely. Like I was saying the other day, the girl broke a glass on a waiter's head at the restaurant. I took that waiter to the nearby hospital. Another girl was with us too.
Zinni's jaw tightens. Her eyes seem to measure everything. Patrick begins to hesitate and stammer.
Believe me, if you want, you can even check at that hospital. I took them there. Then I dropped them off a little distance away from their hotel. When I left them, the 2 girls were still there. Then the 2 girls drove away. After a while, I left too. If you don't believe me, you can ask them both.
You don't have to worry about that. I will figure out who needs to be questioned. For now, I am taking this mat for a lab test. Come to Central Bureau tomorrow.
Okay. So be it. All right.
Zinni rolls up the mat and walks toward the door.
And listen, don't even mistakenly try to leave the city without informing the police. The consequences won't be good.
Patrick nodded his head in a helpless manner. On the other side, Carter's informants reported Samuel's daily routine. Every Wednesday evening, Samuel goes to a bar in the city. There couldn't be a better opportunity than this. In the bar, Carter kept a close eye on Samuel. Samuel smoked 2 or 3 times and threw the butts into the dustbin. So even though Carter wanted to, he couldn't collect them. Samuel drank a few pegs of alcohol sitting right at the bar counter. But before Carter could collect the glasses, the bartender took them and threw them into the used glass basket. Since he was instructed to keep the matter confidential, Carter did not want to reveal his identity to the bar manager or the bartender right away. But Carter doubted whether anything could be achieved this way at all. One by one, opportunities kept slipping away. Carter began to feel that although the man Samuel was drunk, his senses were sharp. Finally, with faltering steps, the man walked out of the tavern and headed toward the road. Carter also followed behind and stood hiding in the darkness. It felt like it wouldn't happen today. After waiting for a taxi for a while, the man lights a cigarette and boards a taxi. Carter saw that this was the last chance. He starts running behind the taxi. After going some distance, Samuel discards the cigarette. Without wasting a single moment, Carter starts running while putting on his gloves. Coming close, he picks up the cigarette butt with tweezers and puts it into an airtight pouch. Immediately, he calls Zinni.
Hello, madam. The job is done. No, I am coming straight to the lab.
TV News. Central Bureau has finally solved the double murder case. Although the local police station initially thought it was an accident, the astute detectives of Central Bureau cracked the murder mystery. Watching the TV news on Sunday morning, Arthur burst out laughing. Taking a sip of his morning tea, Chief Scott said,
So, Zinni, this case is finally solved. What are you going to treat Uncle to today?
Whatever Uncle wants to eat.
Leave all that. You haven't even told me the remaining details of the case yet. What happened after collecting Samuel's DNA?
Setting down her teacup, Zinni begins.
Chasing Samuel was completely in vain. His DNA didn't match. Imagine, just when it felt like I had wrapped up the case, the report left me absolutely devastated. Patrick had agreed to give his blood sample himself. It didn't match his DNA either. In such a state, I couldn't figure out what to do. All the proofs of murder are there, the evidence is there, only the killer is missing. So, I started over from the very beginning. This time, I resolved to check all possible conditions equally. I checked the accident-ridden car again. All in all, another round of conversations took place with everyone associated with the 4 cars we had spotted on camera. This time, I decided to check their cars as well. In a way, you could say I was clutching at whatever straws I could find in the dark. This is how I got the final and most important link to this case, which was so trivial that we weren't even considering it. Patrick goes outside the city once every 3 or 4 months to pick up goods himself in his small minivan type car. He hadn't gone out since that incident. Upon checking his car in the garage, a large dried blood stain was found on the mat.
Whose blood?
Oh, Dad, I'm telling you, listen. Questioning Patrick, I found out that he was also at that diner that day. When one of the girls smashed a glass on a waiter's head, causing a bloody scene, Patrick quickly took that waiter and his companion to the hospital. They were discharged within half an hour with a few stitches. Patrick dropped them near the Delaware Confluence Bridge in his own car. DNA samples could not be recovered from the dried blood on the mat. It was ruined due to open air and excessive heat. Verifying the truth of Patrick's statement from the diner's CCTV footage, I saw that the 2 girls left about 45 minutes after the waiter's head was injured. And by then, the companion waiter had returned to the diner.
That was the only ultimate weapon in this case. Without DNA, perhaps it would never have been possible to catch them. Anyway, tell me what happened next.
Out of sheer stubbornness, with the help of the doctors at the hospital where the waiter had gone, I sent the waiter's blood sample to the city. The forensic report stated it wasn't an exact match, but it shared a large part of the profile. In other words, it belongs to a close relative of his. We immediately picked up this waiter, Ricky. Then, you know how it goes. A little pressure during interrogation at Central Bureau, and he confessed that his companion waiter was his brother, Jake. Returning to the hotel, seeing the girls still there, the hot-headed Jake called his brother and told him to wait near the Delaware Confluence Bridge. Jake also slipped out quietly. Then, they stalked the girls' car a little away from the bridge by throwing a stone on the road. The intoxicated girls were not in a position to offer much resistance. Jake and Ricky took them into a jungle near the shrine. The plan was to assault them and let them go. But after everything, as the girls slowly started regaining consciousness, one began scratching frantically. The other tried to scream and escape. Jake caught the girl. He pressed her neck against the boot of the car to quiet her down, but failed. In a fit of rage, he picked up a nearby stone and struck the back of her head. The car's boot got dented from the impact of the stone, and a hairline fracture developed at the back of the girl's head. They didn't know if the girl died right then, but out of fear, they strangled the other girl to death. After this, we all know the rest. Jake drove the car the rest of the way to the Blackwood River Ghat and pushed it into the water. While trying to dump it into the water in the dark, it hit a rock which crumpled the front bonnet. Jake is relatively tall, so naturally the car seat was pushed backward.
Taking a deep breath, Zinni said,
Now I will take a few days off. That's it.
Go ahead and take it.
Arthur bursts out laughing. Right at that moment, the landline phone kept on the table rings.
Hello.
Hello. Am I speaking to Mr.
There are two misters here. Which do you want?
First, Arthur?
Yes, Arthur speaking.
Welcome to our channel Infinite Tale Studio. For more stories and support our channel, please subscribe.